Greetings and welcome to my dear Aries. This is Ron from Terror of the Twin Sun. I do welcome you back to the channel. If you're new, please like or subscribe if you will. If you don't like it, please hit dislike and don't return. I do appreciate your support either way and your honesty. Please be open, but also use your discernment in finding guidance within the readings. This is not going to resonate for everyone, but if it does for you, I do appreciate your support. Also, the first house is open. This is the house of the self as well. The house of the inner child, the fort that we build while we're young, as well as the ability to live out certain modes of conflict and resolution through the aggression of Mars. And Mars can be quite liberating. Currently, it's in Taurus, which activates the second house, first and second. There's a possibility of some sort of movement that has to do with the fusion of certain things, the conglomeration of material aspects that are heavy now. There's something about routine, and the more you incorporate within routine, should stratify a sense of self, making you towards the path of the student, or making you walk towards the path of the student or the path of the master. There is a fine line between student and master, and constantly there is reversals in terms of that. A bit of the wheel of fortune within that sort of dynamic, or yin yang. You can't have your sort of apples without oranges. But what we're seeing here today is a glimpse at the singularity. Okay, the singularity is something that may happen to you in the month of, we're in February now, mid-month of February 2020, and essentially there is possibly something that you can glean from this. This is a spiritual reading based on the singularity's energy. There's a mode of action here that has to do with inaction, the inability to close off a cycle that has to do with essentially great wealth or prosperity, some sort of idealized mode of hard work that comes through the energy and is activated through the energy of Mercury, and essentially coming into that which is expected but not giving you what you want in terms of an emotional standard, okay? It is practical, it is driven, it is motivated, it is mastered. The student and the master are here. There's something that you are still learning that has to do with looking away from certain modes that have to do with being content in terms of your materiality, but then something lacking on an emotional level. This could also have to do with several members of family. It doesn't have to. Or certain relationships that have to do with father figures, combined with mother figures, of course. What I'm seeing here is an activation of, I would say, Aquarius energy. There's also something about your seventh house, strongly. There also is a possibility of trying to find a sense of stability in the past, letting go of something in terms of a project or in terms of a situation in order to gain something, okay? What is central now in the singularity is the Seven of Swords. Seven of Swords has to do with what we can take, what we can keep. But then there's this energy of really sort of what we can get away with in terms of our thoughts and how they wander, okay? There's an element of wandering here that has to do with the balance between past and near future. That has to do with getting rid of old ways or old outdated modes of thinking or perhaps behaving that have to do with your core fundamental praxis, the way you discipline yourself, the way you have a conservative bent when it comes to your realities. There's something about that cornerstone that was taken away in order to take away some sort and find a sense of peace of mind, find a sense of clarity in some sort of way. But now there is a revisitation of old ways of thinking that have been trying to let themselves go in terms of your realities. And now there is a difficulty in moving forward without looking back, okay? In this essence, there's a sense that you've invested. This does not have to resonate with you, but if it does, please take what you will, only what you will. There's something about this that has to do with the mystery of the Holy Grail, something that you've been searching for, something that you've had to sort of take with you, or give away something in order to gain something. But then there is this whole element of discordance or the unavailability of your efforts, so that you can find a sense of clarity. There's a walking away from a structure or perhaps some sort of project, okay, or perhaps a type of relationship. Um, in this sort of motion, once again, there's a sort of numbing quality that you may have had that has to do with this severance, okay? Feels like that pain is gone, okay? And it's been anesthetized in some sort of way, or clinically sort of alleviated. But metaphorically, it still remains, and there's some sort of thing that you are trying to learn from it in order to find a sense of purity, but then there still is this mode of withdrawal, okay? What is under all of this and what crowns all of this is a sense that you may be taking quite a bit in terms of fears or motivations of fears of survivability, or perhaps certain loyalties that you have, or people that you are loyal to that have this sort of motherly energy. Okay, the Great Mother is here on the mind, activating a sense of loyalty, a sense of nurture, a sense of propriety in terms of intuitive responsibilities, okay, or creative responsibilities. There is a sense of the great cycle of moon and sun, and the ability to find in the eclipse of that some sort of enlightenment, some sort of way to grow or make fertile the mind, okay? This has to do with fertilizing the mind, making that pure in some sort of way. But what is occurring, and I hope, you know, it's not occurring, but if it is, there is some sort of prison of the mind, or perhaps there is a hardening effect of the mind that has to do with a psychology that is deeply rooted in a type of fear that has been brooding, that is very feminine in nature or subversive in some sort of way. At the same time, it gives you a sense of strength. But it's very left-handed, it's very dark side, this psychology. And it would be difficult for me to crack what it is, but it has to do also with the perception that is rooted in the pituitary gland, or perhaps some sort of enlightenment that comes through that. The third eye is a possibility. So there is that to take from. On the other hand, on the deep subconscious as well as the unconscious area, there is a possibility of the end of a cycle that echoes the 10 to the 10, the 10 of swords to the 10 of rods. That has to do with the squelching, or the abbreviation of passions, okay? The alleviation of passions, like a cooling effect is here. That has to do with the great change of events that is occurring on in your outer doorstep, or perhaps that is occurring within. And that it has to do with essentially a sense of burden and relief, as well as the sense of an ending when it comes to a heart's desire, okay? There's something about you that is becoming a master, or at least becoming a master of using your emotional content in order to drive you in some sort of way. But it's sort of based on fears or some sort of deeper emotional regressions or suppressions that are being cultivated to give you a sense of maturity. But then there always is this looking back of something that you have left in terms of that thing that you have been trying to cut out, or perhaps that you've been trying to avoid, to find a sense of health in terms of your own mental health or your physical health. Connection here has been lost. That's what I'm seeing, or perhaps there's something that is trying to pull you back, but I don't know. That is what I have for the energy of Aries. Quite a mystery, very deep, lots of emotional undertones, as well as hidden elements that will forever remain a mystery to me. If you liked, please like. If not, I do appreciate you checking out the channel. Please don't return. I thank you. Otherwise, be well. Bye-bye.